Hello everyone, today we are going to discuss about structuralist criticism in detail. So we need to note that structuralist criticism actually understands the language, the way in which language is used in a literary work, and the structure of the language or the structure of the story or the plot line of the literary work is also considered. So the basic idea is that language is actually arbitrary, its meaning will change. So each literary work will have a structure of its own, and there are many characters, there is actually a form, a particular pattern, a particular archetypal structure also. So all these kinds of things are actually analyzed and understood in a structuralist perspective. So we can see that a series of letters, words or sentences are actually constructing meaning for language. So these kinds of language is actually constructed, or this kind of meaning is constructed in a literary work. So as a reaction to structuralism, we can see post-structuralism happens after that during the postmodern period. There we can see that this meaning is actually controlled by the powerful elements of the society. But in this structuralist criticism, today we are discussing about the way in which a meaning is constructed, how the language is creating a particular kind of ideology or cultural kind of elements in a literary work. So the structure of a literary work we will understand through structuralist criticism. So when we talk about structuralism, we need to note that the father of structuralism is Ferdinand de Saussure, who is actually a professor at University of Geneva in Switzerland, and he developed this structural linguistics between 1906 and 1911. So this approach actually attempts to study literature in an objective perspective, we can see. So regarding this language, the structure of language, how meaning is actually constructed in a literary work, how this lang and parole operates in language. So that kind of linguistic element, that structural objective kind of way, this Ferdinand de Saussure tried to understand literature. So structuralist perspective is actually propounded by Ferdinand de Saussure, and he is known as the father of structuralism. We should know that. And there is also another theorist called Claude Lévi-Strauss. He actually introduced the idea of binary oppositions. So in all the literary works, there will be some kind of oppositions given. So if there is a character which is good, then there will be an opposite character who is evil. So if one character is good looking, there will be another character who will be ugly. So many binary oppositions. So indirectly when we say, if a gloomy kind of atmosphere is actually introduced in a novel or a drama, we can see that as an opposition, a hidden kind of meaning, like usually this place is not supposed to be gloomy. So that kind of idea will be indirectly there. So we will come to an example. So that time you will understand how this binary opposition acts very effectively. So I think that you might be familiar with the short story of Edgar Allan Poe, The Fall of the House of Usher. So it is actually a very gothic kind of short story, and if you don't know the story, you can definitely look the YouTube video. I have also made a video based on that short story. So you should know that there is a mansion mentioned during the beginning of the short story. So in that we can see the mansion is actually represented as something gloomy or something, a negative kind of atmosphere is given to the mansion. And it is actually giving a hidden meaning that usually mansions are not supposed to be like that. They are actually well built and very royal looking, and very positive atmosphere will be given from a mansion. But here it is actually the opposite. So this binary opposition is actually even in a hidden manner there in this short story, we can say. And apart from that, in the same short story, if you look, there is actually a character called Roderick. So the narrator actually goes to visit Roderick in the mansion, Usher. So we can see that this Roderick and this narrator, they are actually childhood friends. So the childhood narrator and Roderick, and the adult narrator and the friend, they both are actually some kind of binary opposition. So all these kind of elements will be analyzed while we come across this structuralist criticism. So a structuralist critic will analyze all these kinds of elements. We should know that. So you need to also note that Claude Lévi-Strauss, he wrote a very important literary work or a theoretical book called Structuralist Anthropology, written in 1950s. So he also tried to understand the double entendres used in a literary work. For example, if we can say, in the short story Young Goodman Brown, we can see that there is a character of this Young Goodman's wife called Faith. So once he will talk a dialogue which is called, I have lost faith. So it can be a double meaning, like it can be either that he lost his faith in religion, or either he had lost his wife faith. So that kind of double entrance is also analyzed by Claude Lévi-Strauss through this binary oppositions and also by this structural analysis. So searching texts for these binary oppositions or paired opposites is actually a practical method of applying this structuralist analysis on a particular literary work. So one more example I will talk about binary opposition. If we look the fairy tale Cinderella, we can see, so there is actually a binary opposition existing between Cinderella and the other sisters. So Cinderella is someone who is more beautiful. On the other hand, her sisters are not. She is actually more pretty and more good behaviored woman, Cinderella, but her sisters are not so. And some similarities also is there. Cinderella is going through a reverse of fortune and her sisters are also going through the same. So similarities and differences or binary oppositions, those things will be analyzed in a literary work if we go through a structuralist perspective. So Cinderella is someone good in this literary work and her sisters are evil in this. We can see. So this is actually an effective example for binary opposition. So there are also many other factors that the structuralist analyze in a literary work. We can see how the flashback is actually used in a story, how the events are actually developing in a novel or a short story or a drama, how these kinds of characters reacts to these kind of events, and how the language is actually used in a literary work, how the element of time is actually treated in a literary work. So we can see flashback and all is actually depicting some past time. So unequal treatment of time is also a factor that also the structuralist will analyze. And also shifting viewpoints. Sometimes the narrator will be one person and after some time some other's perspective the story will be told. Those kind of shifting viewpoints also will be analyzed by structuralist analysts to understand the pattern or the structure of a literary work. We need to also note the structuralists use some kind of chords in analyzing these literary works. So according to Roland Barthes, there are few kind of literary chords used by structuralists to analyze a literary work. Regarding that, we will discuss in detail. So first one is Code of Actions by Roland Barthes. The Code of Actions actually tries to give the reader an idea or tells the reader, asks the reader to find some kind of meaning in a sequence of events. That means in a literary work, some sequence of events will be given and the reader is supposed to find some kind of meaning from that sequence of events. So structuralists will understand these kinds of events which are there in the literary work. Next one is the Code of Puzzles. So it is also given by Roland Barthes. The Code of Puzzles actually means some kind of hidden kind of details. So some kind of question will be propounded in that kind of area so that the readers are supposed to find out. So that is meant by Code of Puzzles. So next code is Cultural Code. So Cultural Code refers to all systems of knowledge and values invoked by a text. So those cultural elements, the background kind of elements actually prevailing in a text is actually given to the reader indirectly. So this is actually the cultural code. So readers will understand those cultural factors also associated with that. So a literary critic who is undergoing structuralist analysis will understand the cultural code which is actually given by the text. Then there is connotative code, which is actually some kind of themes developed around the characters. Those kind of themes is actually part of this connotative codes. So one more code is remaining, which is the symbolic code. Symbolic code, as we know, it is actually associated with language. Many kinds of symbols will be given. Those kind of symbols the readers are supposed to know so that they will understand many kind of hidden elements in a literary work. So this structuralist analyst will always try to understand the symbolic code also in a literary work. So that is about the important structuralist codes used by the critics. So now you need to note that structuralist criticism is also associated with formalist criticism. So there are many French thinkers like Voltaire and also Jean-Paul Sartre, who is actually connected with existentialism. They are also associated with this structuralist criticism. We should know that. They are more connected with formalist criticism and which is also connected with structuralism. We should know that. And we need to also know that French terminology is actually used in structuralist criticism. So now if we look, we can see that some questions will be asked by these structuralist critics when they analyze a particular literary work. So how the characters are represented, how the story pattern works, how are they saying the dialogues. So are there any cultural elements associated with it? What are the images used in it? Or is there any influence of the author in it? What is actually the power structures there in that particular kind of literary work? All those things are actually asked by a literary critic when they have this structuralist perspective while analyzing a literary work. And you should also note that they are actually believing that this structure is actually the ultimate kind of reality of the literary work and the society during that particular time period, the structuralist. But you should note that after the structuralism comes the post-structuralism. During that time, that is also associated with structuralism, actually inspired or actually a reaction to structuralism. We should know that because structuralists actually thought that this is the ultimate reality, this structure is the ultimate truth. But post-structuralists have the idea that it is not the truth. It is actually the powerful class in that particular society who determines what should be the reality. So there are multiple realities in a post-structural world and the powerful or the dominating class will determine what should be the reality. So that kind of a post-structuralist will after that start new movements during the post-modern world, we can see. But now we should study about structuralism, how structuralism works and how a structuralist critic analyzes a literary work, that we should know. So I hope that you understood main points regarding this structuralist criticism, and you can also suggest me other topics regarding criticism or any other topics, so that I will take video lecture on, that will be helpful to you. So today we will stop the lecture. Thank you and have a nice day.